What's up, descendants of the Shadowfight universe? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about SHANG because everybody is talking about him. Neki recently buffed SHANG in the previous update for no reason. He has become a menace in the PvP. In this video I'm gonna give you guys the tips and tricks on how to use SHANG effectively and the tips and tricks on how to counter attack SHANG. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more quick content like this. By the way, this is my second channel. My main channel will be linked in the description section. Subscribe so you don't miss out. So right now we're gonna begin with the talent tree. Just take a look at the shadow damage for SHANG, 469, the highest. There are currently 2 fighting styles for SHANG and you can determine them at level 6. Use this as a guideline. Whichever skill you pick at level 6 should determine how you set up your SHANG. So let's begin by going with the Gloom explosion. If you knock SHANG out of shadow form, his shadow protection explodes and does damage to the enemy. So when you go to level number 2, you pick shadow consumption. This talent works well with the Gloom explosion. Forget the Scourge arrow, it's not for the Gloom explosion. At level 4, you're gonna get rid of Shadow Genesis and go with Shadow Finale. It's gonna be much more useful to use Shadow Finale than Shadow Genesis if you equip your SHANG with the Gloom explosion. So Shadow Finale for Gloom explosion. So let's continue, let's keep it moving. So at level 6 we have the Gloom explosion. Use this as a guideline. At level 8 you're gonna pick the Shadow Suppression if you pick Gloom explosion. Shadow Suppression is gonna help SHANG get a lot of shadow energy through enemy blocks. Actually, he just gets more shadow energy with every single hit. At level 10, you're gonna go with Style of the Dragon. It's a no-brainer. I'm not a fan of Style of the Viper. I always go with the Style of the Dragon. It makes it difficult for the enemy to dodge. So we are done with the first fighting style for SHANG, which is Gloom explosion. Now we move on to the next talent, which is the weak points, and this is how you set him up. If you really want to cut your enemies like a ninja within a few seconds, then you should go with the weak points. This is the talent that makes SHANG the most dangerous character in the whole PvP. Even the Ironclad with the high pain threshold will stand no chance against SHANG. So let's go to level 2 and see how you set him up. Pick the Scourge arrow if you pick the weak points. Scourge arrow increases the number of weak points, thereby giving you more damage. Make sure you take advantage of this ranged weapon if you have the weak points talent. At level 4 you're gonna go with Shadow Genesis because this is what you need if you have the weak points. You can take out 60 to 80% of the enemy health at the beginning of the match. You should make sure it counts. Shadow Genesis for weak points. Level 6 you go with the weak points. Level 8 you should pick Trance for the weak points. This one is gonna give SHANG a longer shadow form duration. You can do more shadow attacks which will work well with the weak points. You also have a much stronger shadow protection. The opponent is gonna need like maybe 3 hits to knock you out of shadow form. You can use this as a second means of defense. So we're gonna move on to level 10 and you're gonna keep the Style of the Dragon. Style of the Dragon is a no-brainer. This is what you need if you want to do a lot of damage to the enemy. Now that we are done with the 2 fighting styles for SHANG, let me give you the best tip for using the SHANG character. I have seen so many YouTubers on YouTube and none of them use this talent to its full advantage. SHANG the Monk has been designed to gain a lot of shadow energy through the enemy blocks. So here is the trick. You don't need to land a successful hit if you're using SHANG. Just hit the enemy through the block. Let them keep blocking. You will be gaining a lot of shadow energy. When you get full shadow energy, you destroy them completely. This is really good for those players who like to camp. Your mission is to hit them through the block. Let them keep blocking. Let them keep walking backwards. You just gain shadow energy through the enemy blocks and then you destroy them. Make good use of this talent. You should incorporate it into your fighting style and your SHANG will be unstoppable. Now let's move on to the most effective shadow attack sequence for Shang the Monk. First, we're gonna begin with the Scourge Arrow. If you have the weak points, make good use of this arrow. So take a look. My weak points is X1 and the damage has been increased. Let me load it up and then hit the enemy again. This is just for demonstration purposes. So let it load up, it's full, we hit the enemy again. X2, the weak points, so much damage. So the best way to use the Shang shadow attack is to try and pressure the opponent towards the wall. So this is the first one. You begin with the Wild Wind, hit them with the heavy attack, blast away, use the arrow shadow attack, hit them with the Soul Grip, smash them with another Wild Wind, and just look at all that damage. It's unbearable. If you apply this properly, you can take out 60 to 80% within the first 15 seconds. This is the weak point Shang. And don't forget that trick. You don't need to land a successful hit if you're using the Shang character. Hit the enemy through the blocks, you're going to be getting a lot of shadow energy. If they keep blocking, just let them block. Your mission is to hit them through the block. That is the trick, guys. Don't forget it. Let's move on to the last tips and tricks of the video, how to counter attack Shang. So where should I begin? There are some good characters in Shadow Fight Arena that you can use to counter attack Shang. But that's not what I'm gonna tell you in this video. I'm gonna tell you the tips and tricks on how to counter attack Shang with any character in the game. There are a few things that you need to look out for when you are fighting Shang. The first one is to try and dodge him 100%. You know Shang can get a lot of shadow energy through the enemy blocks. So if you dodge him instead of blocking, you're gonna limit his shadow energy gaining ability. You can take him out very fast. So do not let him hit you through the enemy blocks. Try to dodge it if you can. The second tips and tricks involves his shadow attacks. When Shang enters the shadow form, you should pay attention to two shadow attacks. Pay attention to the Wild Wind, pay attention to the Soul Grip. Those two shadow attacks are the ones that will destroy you 100%. If you let him hit you with the Wild Wind, it's going to increase his shadow form. I mean, it's gonna increase his weak points. So when you fight Shang, pay attention to the Wild Wind. Let him hit you with the arrow shadow attack, let him hit you with the blast, but try not to let him catch you with the Soul Grip and the Wild Wind. Learn how to dodge those two shadow attacks and you should be able to stop Shang without any problem. Again, I repeat, stay on the lookout for the Wild Wind and the Soul Grip. Just practice dodging those two shadow attacks. If you dodge them, you are safe. That's it for the tips and tricks, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. So to put everything in summary, try to dodge the Wild Wind and the Soul Grip so you don't get destroyed. Two fighting styles for Shang, weak points and Gloom Explosion. Pick the one that fits you best. And don't forget to apply the Shang's fighting techniques effectively. Hit the enemy through the blocks, you'll be getting a lot of shadow energy. Let me talk a little bit more about this channel. I created this channel to post extra shadow fight content. You might be disappointed that I did not fight anyone in this video. That is why I created this channel, so I can throw in some stuff like this. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe. Main channel will be linked down below. Until then, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.